It is Wednesday, August 21st. Welcome to another edition of Baseball Today. Chris Rose not here with me at all. I'm your host, Trevor Plouffe, today, and in his stead, my favorite person to talk baseball with. Sorry, Chris. Katie. Woo! Katie, what's going on? How are you? Thanks for joining us today.
No, Trevor Plouffe, I'm so happy to be here with you. I've had a couple of rosy shows, but I think we were well overdue. So hopefully we can make him proud.
I don't even care about making him proud, to be honest with you. I really
Okay,
don't.
let's
We talk
disappoint him.
so much. He's like my mentor, my job dad. That's what I call him. And sometimes it's okay to disappoint your dad a little bit. That's what I figured out. Okay.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
As we always do, we're going to start with the tip of the cap. And this one I saw in person last night. One of the most incredible plays that I've seen all season long. And I think you're really going to enjoy this.
Line to left field. Sinking down, a base hit. 1 run scores. 2 runs will score. Jeffers to third. He's going to be out there. Vasquez.
Jurickson Profar with the incredible Derek Jeter jump throw in the outfield to get Jeffers at third base. Then he obviously hits the homer to put them ahead. So his incredible year continues. But Katie, Hassan Kim is out. So they're shortstop list right now. And we always joke that San Diego is a team full of shortstops, but they have nobody to play shortstop right now. My guy Tyler Wade is in there, but I thought it was cool to see kind of that athleticism in the outfield. You can always tell when it's a guy that didn't grow up playing outfield. They just look different when they field the ball.
Yeah, that first step jump, maybe the instincts aren't all the way there, but that's why shortstops are the best athletes because they can play every single position. I think you should just call the Padres the San Diego shortstops anyway. And it's pretty funny because if I was going to go through that roster, Tyler Wade is maybe the last person I'd pick at shortstop, but it seems like no matter what the Padres do this year, no matter who's hurt or whatever thing that they're rolling out, it works for them. So good on you guys, San Diego.
100%. We had a voicemail episode of Talking Baseball, and some San Diego fan was like, "Hey, is it weird to say that I don't want Fernando Tatis Jr. coming back into our lineup?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird to
A little
say,
weird.
but you're right. It is working for them right now.
Yeah, they're
Unbelievable."
I don't know. Baseball doesn't make any sense to me, but I guess Mike Schilt and his revenge tour is going well. So good for San Diego. Those fans deserve it. Some of the most electric fans in baseball. They have not had a lot to celebrate up until the last couple of years. So hopefully this continues for them.
All right. As always, this one is brought to us by 5-Hour Energy. 5-Hour Energy shots help you feel alert and energized. Each shot is packed with vitamins, nutrients, and about as much caffeine as a Leadium premium coffee. So one regular strength shot equals an 8-ounce coffee. An extra strength shot equals a 12-ounce coffee. And this is what I love about it the most. I try to stay away from sugar. And this contains 0 sugar. You can drink it in seconds. You feel it in minutes, and it lasts for hours. That's a great tagline right there. Give that guy a raise. And it's available in a wide range of great flavors across regular strength and extra strength varieties. So 5-Hour Energy shots are portable, convenient, and go with you for that feeling of energy whenever and wherever you need it. We're actually going to start off with a question about your Cardinals. Frankie Montas last night, he throws 7 innings of shutout ball, allows 1 hit, 1 walk as the Brewers beat the Cardinals 3-2. He's been solid since coming over from Cincinnati in the trade. Bolstering the rotation. You got Devin Williams back there. He got his 5th save since returning from the IL, had some big strikeouts there at the end of the game. So I guess my question to you, Katie, is let's just break it down to this. What's going on with the Cardinals this year? I've talked a lot about them on my other shows. A lot of it I used to point towards Ollie Marmol. What do you think the biggest difference is? I mean, they're 11 games back in the NL Central. It seems like their season's done. What do you think the biggest problem has been?
Yeah, I think it's pretty difficult to just pinpoint one thing, but when you're contrasting the Cardinals and the Brewers, to me, that one's obvious. The Brewers have an exceptional 40-man and they use it well. Their roster construction is well, their management, they do a nice job. The Cardinals don't really have a 40-man roster that complements their 26-man roster, and they don't have a lot of depth in general. So when you're rolling out this opening day lineup, you had a solid starting 9, and that was it. And as we know, you can't count on best case scenario in a 162 game season. Every single game, guys are going to struggle. The Cardinals, their biggest issue has been offense. They cannot score. They are one of the worst teams against lefties in particular. The only team that is worse than them against left-handers offensive wise, the Chicago White Sox. And anytime you're in a sentence with the Chicago White Sox, it's probably not good news for you. So it's been disappointing. You know, I thought the Cardinals did what they could at the trade deadline to bolster the areas they needed. They got Eric Fetty. I like the addition of Tommy Pham, but not even that has helped them. They've instead gone on a tailspin over the last 2 weeks, pretty much spiraling them out of contention. But honestly, if you look around the organization, it isn't all that surprising that they're in the position that they are because they were never a really well-crafted roster to begin with.
Oh my god, it's difficult because I just think about them as being the model of consistency, and maybe I'm like old school, out of touch with the Cardinals way and all that, and all of that. I will say this: if you want to be a good team, you got to hit with runners in scoring position. Right now, the Cardinals, the 29th OPS in baseball, 627 with runners in scoring position. And then you can contrast that. We're talking about the Brewers and how good they've been. They're fourth in all the baseball with an 808 OPS with runners in scoring position. And sometimes that's all it takes. And I do agree with you about the roster construction. And just to talk a little bit about the Brewers, I mean, I feel like they're a team. And again, they've kind of done this for a couple of years where it's not a bunch of brand name guys. And the Brewers do think, their front office does think that they're smarter than everyone else. And that's kind of how I want my front office to think, because that's you have to be that. You have to scout better. You have to, develop better. They've constructed a roster that, is very athletic, can score in different ways. And what they say, speed never slumps. So if you got guys that can, run the bases, take the extra base, and again, score runs in different ways. You can have Willie Adames hitting 10 3-run homers on the year. Like, those are things that you can when you can score in different ways, you win more baseball games. And you see that kind of throughout the league. There are times where teams get caught up in one thing, whether it's hitting home runs, whether it's this, whether it's that. And the Brewers are just a team that's can beat you in a bunch of different ways. So it's been fun to watch them. I think a lot of people wrote them off, Katie, when they traded Corbin Burns before the year. Then you lose Christian Yelich right after the All-Star break. They don't go away no matter what happens to them.
No, it's like every time I look at the Brewers, I think they can't keep getting away with this. And they do. They're 21 games over 500. They've had like 800 starting pitcher injuries, and they just keep finding ways to win. And I like what you said about Milwaukee. They are a very athletic roster. They're also getting production from guys like Adames. William Contreras has been huge for them offensively and behind the plate. Then you contrast that with the Cardinals. And I mean, look, these are two of the best pros that I've worked with. But you're going to tell me that Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado are happy with their production this season? It's probably not.
No.
Right? Wilson Contreras, he missed a significant amount of time with a brutal injury, but still his offensive production hasn't been great. You look at all their supplemental guys. What the Brewers have is depth, and this goes back to the 40-man. If someone gets hurt or if someone's underperforming, they have someone else they can call up. And maybe the front office is smarter than anyone because I don't know any of these Brewers names. And then they show up and they rake. And I'm like, how do you keep getting away with this? The Cardinals, on the other hand, you go down through the lineup. If your name isn't Mason Wynn or Alec Burleson, you're probably slumping. Jordan Walker is back in the minors. Nolan Gorman has one of the highest strikeout rates in baseball. Again, it's just not a well-constructed roster, and you're seeing the repercussions in St. Louis. It is very sad here in baseball heaven right now, and it does not look like it's going to get any better anytime soon.
Do they call it baseball heaven?
They do. I do it sarcastically because it has not really felt like heaven at all. It's actually felt more like purgatory, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say purgatory is a good word for him right now. I love that. Okay. Let's move on because I feel like I could talk about the Brewers and Cardinals so much. Shout out my guy Kyle Gibson. We had a crazy game in the Bronx. It went down as the Guardians took the Yankees down in 12 innings by a final score of 9-5. Michael Tonkin on the hill there, my old teammate there, get up some runs. This snapped a 3-game skid for the Guardians and gave the Yankees a 3-game losing streak as they battle for the best record in baseball. So it's Phillies, it's the Yankees, it's the Baltimore. These teams are struggling a little bit right now. Do you have a favorite from them to have the best record in baseball or to win it all, or is it somebody completely different? I guess you got to mention the Dodgers in that as well, obviously.
I think if you're going to struggle in August, don't struggle in September. And I think you can make a compelling case for all of these teams, but I'm going with the Phillies just because I like how they're constructed. When you think about playoff teams that are successful, Trevor, you look for 3 things. You really only need, and I say only in, context, 2 to 3 high-end starting pitchers. You don't need 5. You just need 2. If you have 3, you're probably in a better spot, right? You need a bullpen that can lock things down, preferably a high leverage closer. And then you have guys that rake. And I think we just pretty much defined the Phillies lineup. Look, they have Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. These are guys that have done it before. They know what it takes to grind out and win in the postseason. Let's not forget what they did in 2022. Ranger Suarez is coming back, I think, this weekend. So there's your three. I like the bullpen. They traded for Carlos Estevez. That's a nice trade. I think Matt Strahm and Jeff Hoffman are probably two of the more underrated National League relievers. And then just look through the lineup. Every single guy can slug. Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, on and on and on. That to me is a playoff constructed roster. And I'm not saying that the other teams we talked about aren't, but there are significant flaws, I think, with the Yankees' offensive production. You wonder if the Orioles have the experience to perform in the postseason, because that does matter. I think overall, well, I'm not necessarily worried about any of these three teams. The Phillies are probably the ones that I'm going to give the nod to as the favorite heading into the postseason, just because they're built the best.
I agree. I love the roster construction of the Phillies. I have them picked preseason to be my World Series winner. I keep saying it over and over again. Like, they're going to win the World Series one year when Bryce Harper is there. Like, it just, in my mind, if I flash forward into the future, because we're in this simulation, you can do that, Katie. I'm going to look back and say, obviously, Bryce Harper won a World Series in Philadelphia. And this seems like the best time, if not now. I mean, it's going to happen soon. So I also, I have them as my World Series winners. And if I had to go back and would I change it right now? Would I say that the Dodgers are better suited? Like, maybe, they got to get some guys healthy, like especially in that rotation. I think if they can do that, then, you could talk about how well constructed they are too. They made adjustments, they made trades. Gavin Lux has really turned it on for them, which has lengthened their lineup. Max Muncy's back now. About the rest of the dudes. We're going to talk about Shohei in a little bit, at least I am. So I feel like you can't talk about World Series favorites and not mention the Dodgers. But I agree, like Philly, if you're talking about wrapping up a package and all nice and neat, some people just like know how to wrap Christmas presents.
Yeah, I'm not
they
one
look
of them,
so
but
good.
yes.
I'm not one. Oh, I'm not one of them either.
Amazing.
But the people that can do that, great for you. I really appreciate a nice wrapping job. They're like so neatly wrapped up their roster. Everything fits, everything works right. So if I was picking between the three teams I mentioned, Phillies, Baltimore, and New York, even though the Phillies had struggled so much, I talked to Rob Thompson when they were in LA. I went down to the game. And he was like, yeah, we're struggling, but these guys are veterans. They understand that, the ups and downs of a season. Even though they had some struggles, I'm with you. I think the Phillies are the team to beat within those three. Not saying they can't do it and Baltimore can't just run and how do you get experience? Well, you go out and do it. So they can definitely, show up and prove everyone, I guess not prove everyone wrong, maybe prove us wrong. But I agree with you. Phillies are so wrapped up nicely, Katie.
Yeah, agreed. And also, I'm not sure. Look, Atlanta has been dealt with some brutal injuries. It's just like the hits keep coming. I'm not ruling Atlanta out of the postseason picture, but the division looks a little dicey. I think Philly has the clearest route there. And you always want to win the division because who wants to play a wild card series? Not me.
Padres and Diamondbacks fans are like, why don't you talk about us? Come on. Best record in baseball since the All-Star break. Hey, I will say this, though, because, let's just go off a little bit here. This is a year where I don't think there really is a clear-cut favorite. I mean, you look at the postseason, who's in there right now. I mean, you can make a compelling argument for probably 7 teams. Like, there are some legitimate rosters out there. I think the Padres are very scary to me. The Diamondbacks have been there, done that. I always say, once you make it to the World Series and lose that following year, if you got the same group of guys around, like there's something different. You can't think about anything else except getting back to that stage and wanting to win the World Series. So I'd put them as my dark horse team. The Diamondbacks.
I like that. And here's my hot take alert. I don't think it's any guarantee the Dodgers win the NL West. I don't think you can rule out San Diego or Arizona. I think
I don't think
that's
you can
actually going to
either.
be my favorite thing. Let's see all the drama in the NL West.
Okay, a little bit of Dodger hate. That's what I'm sensing out of you. No big deal.
No Dodger hate. All respect to my guy, Tommy Edman. I don't know. It's no guarantee.
That's right. He's back. He's doing it.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. I've been watching the Padres up close lately as I'm calling the games, and they're kind of relentless, and the additions they made, the back end of the bullpen there, it's incredible. Let's move on. to question number 3. Zach Wheeler turned in a speaking of the Phillies, Zach Wheeler turned in a 6-inning, 2-earned run outing for the Phillies, but took the loss in a 3-1 game to open the series against Atlanta. So we'll talk about Atlanta here. Marcell Ozuna went deep for the 37th time this season to keep Atlanta within striking distance in the NL East. He's only behind Shohei Ohtani in the NL in homers, but he leads the NL in runs driven in. I believe he leads the NL in batting average as well, or he's at least near the top. So the question is, should Ozuna be getting more MVP talk given how important he's been to Atlanta?
Okay, so I can't talk about who I would vote for in this award because I do have it at the end of the year.
Oh,
But I can
sorry.
talk about some strategy and maybe some people we're not thinking about. I'm not saying who I'm voting for, but let's stir the pot a little bit.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at an MVP, I always weigh into like where a player is in terms of where his team is. So if your team is competing for the postseason, that to me adds value to your most valuable player
Okay.
campaign, right? You know, you're not going to see an MVP from the Oakland A's. Apologies.
Sorry, Mike Trout.
Sorry. Sorry, Trout. Right. But I also play into like, where does this person or what does this player play on the field? And I'm a little hesitant about designated hitters because they're only doing one part of the game. Now, this year might be a little different because arguably 2 of the best offensive performers are DHs, and they both have significant value to playoff caliber clubs. But here's one more guy I'm throwing in the mix. I'm going to throw a little wrench at you, Trevor Plouffe. I know he just went on the injured list with an ankle injury, and you hope it's nothing serious. But Ketel Marte, we're not talking about him either. And I'm not saying Ozuna's not worthy of consideration because I do think he is. But look, 30 homers from Marte, plays second base, 930 OPS. Diamondbacks have surged in the second half. Maybe he should be in the mix too.
Okay. I don't have a vote because people don't trust me to talk about baseball, really. Even though I talk a lot about baseball, I really do, like almost too much. And we talked about that before the show. Look, I love what Ozuna's doing. He's a beast. You go look at any split this year, and it's 900 OPS. It's 1 dot in it. He's just been phenomenal, across the board. You can't take that away. And like, does he have a shot at the Triple Crown? Sure. Is it going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. Here's why I don't think it's going to happen. Shohei Ohtani is the clear MVP. Okay. If I had to vote, Katie, it's Shohei. It's not even close. I love what Ketel Marte has done as well. I also, really put an emphasis on guys that play every day, and especially if you're not just DH and you're out in the field doing it as well. But what Shohei is doing is it's beyond anything that we've ever seen. Okay. He's got a chance to go 50-50 this year. And I'm not a baseball historian, but I'm pretty sure that's never happened before. He's at 39 homers right now. I got to get this up again. Sorry. Bear with me. 39 homers right now, 38 stolen bases. So 12 stolen bases away, 11 homers away, math pod. Now, Katie, he has done that. So it's August 21st, by the way, people. There's plenty of baseball left. The Dodgers are going to be competing, trying to win the NL West, trying to have the best record in the NL. So he's not like going to sit out or take any rest days. So you're saying, okay, can he do 10 and 10 in a month? In June, he had 12 homers. He's up the stolen bases a lot because I think Shohei's the kind of guy that wants to make history. 12 stolen bases in July. He already has 10 in August. So let's just say that Shohei gets to 40-40 before September. You're telling me that guy's not going to have 50-50 in his sights? Like, he for sure is. He's going to turn it on, and I'm going to say it right here. He's going to get 50-50 by the end of the year. He's going to be the MVP. So great on Ozuna. You're having a great year. Great on Ketel Marte. You're having a great year. You're playing in the Shohei Ohtani era. This guy's going to win 7 MVPs by the end of it. He's just that special. 50-50 incoming for Shohei Ohtani.
Book it. You heard it here first on Baseball Today with Trevor and Katie and not Chris Rose. I will say I saw my first Ohtani homer in person this weekend when the Dodgers were in town. So Shohei had never homered against the Cardinals before, I think personally to me, because I'm a Shohei girl. But I wasn't actually at the ballpark. I was across the street at the pool deck, which is like on the 8th floor. And it's really nice. You can see into the stadium. Definitely was not working. Definitely might have been, overserved. But seeing that off the bat from the pool deck, that was an elite experience. That's like a top 3 baseball experience for me, is seeing like my first Shohei Ohtani homer, double fisting in this rooftop bar in downtown St. Louis.
Were you in the pool?
Yeah, I was in the pool. I was off work. I think I'm just gonna hang out.
I need to you could just you can be in you can be in the pool and watch the game.
Yeah, you can it's in Ballpark Village, again in the
gosh.
aforementioned baseball heaven, and you just look over the deck and you can see right into the stadium. It's sick.
Okay,
It's
that does sound like baseball heaven. So I take it back. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
You ever been to the Rooster?
I don't think so. What is
Downtown
that?
St. Louis? It's like a breakfast spot I went to one time. I think it's called the Rooster. I don't know. We're off track here. Hey, look, I'm not good at this hosting thing, so I forgot to mention go to www.5hourenergy.com and use the code JohnBoy to save 20% off your first order. I forgot to mention that. That's a call to action. I got to read that, people. And by the way, before we get to the next question, I got to talk to you guys about BetterHelp. Let me get it up for you. What are your self-care non-negotiables? Maybe you never skip leg day or therapy day. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. Feel you. That one got me right there, 100%. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So this one's up to you. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you can switch. I kind of love that. Stop comparing. That's a problem. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just be yourself. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/baseball today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. Get the help that you need.
Great call to action.
Good.
That was really good. Way to come back.
Just crushed that right there.
You're balled out.
All right, next question, Katie. We're going to be talking about a couple teams in the AL here. The Red Sox broke the tie in the 8th to win 6-5 in Houston, courtesy of a Jarren Duran solo homer. I believe he was 4 for 4 last night. The guy's a stud. This brought Boston within 3.5 of the Twins in the wild card as the Twins lost in San Diego last night. Houston holds a 5-game lead over Seattle in the AL West, with Seattle playing. Nope, I think it's a 6. I don't know what it is. They lead by a lot. Lead. I'm going to change this question up. We're going to do this on the fly here. The question doesn't even really make sense anymore because of what happened last night. It was going to be who's got a better chance to come back and make the playoffs between Boston and Seattle. Clearly, the answer there is Boston. There's no doubt about it. Okay. So my question to you is, it's August 21st. 6.5 games back are the Seattle Mariners in the wild card. They are 5 games back of Houston in the division. Are you ready to call the Seattle Mariners dead in the water?
I'm not. Not like I am with the Cardinals, but I'm close. And the reason is because 5 games on August 21st is much different, obviously, than 10, or in the Cardinals' case, 12. But what they need to do is go on a run, right? What the problem there is that to go on a run, you typically have to score. And the Mariners are not necessarily good at that. And I actually read a really good story by Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic this morning. The Mariners have an elite pitching staff. They have the lowest rotation ERA in baseball, and they've scored close to the lowest runs per game in baseball. So they're just spoiling these incredible pitching outings. And look, I've seen all season long what having no offense does to a club. It's not sustainable. It puts a lot of pressure on the defense and the pitching staff and the bullpen. And it's also just really hard to win if you only score 1 to 2 runs a game. So I'm not ready to call them out yet. I like the trades they made. I like Rosarena. I like Justin Turner, bringing Mitch Haniger back. Those are all names that are supposed to help you. It just hasn't clicked all year. Still not ready to do it yet, but it's close. Haven't put a fork in them, but getting very close.
Okay. Well, look, shout out Boston. You're doing your thing. You're terrifying me as a Twins fan. The roster's injured right now. They're not. It's going to be close. I like what Boston has done. They're having a good season. They have a chance to make the playoffs for sure. Seattle. Here's the thing, Katie. I called them dead. Well, I don't even know what year that was. 2022, I think it was. And Mike Trout went up there. It was April. We were so excited about this Seattle team, and he went up and put up 4 homers, like 15 runs driven in. They swept them. And I was like, the Mariners are dead. They end up coming back, going on this magical run. They used that clip in their postseason montage. Everyone in Seattle hated me, but / loved me because I resurrected their team. So am I willing to do that again to the Seattle Mariners fans? They keep asking me in my comments on my social media, please declare us dead. That's the only thing that can bring us back. But I'm with you. I can't call them dead yet because of the pitching staff. The offense, like, it's been so bad. There's so many statistics on it, Katie, right now. You can talk about their OPS, which is like kind of my go-to stat when you're just talking about offenses. Oh, no. All right. I'm changing my answer.
Okay.
I'm changing my answer right now.
I'm intrigued.
Because this is a sign. I was ready to say, hey, offenses can get hot out of nowhere. This is baseball. When push comes to shove, sometimes that's when, greatness comes out of people. I like the additions as well. I like Randy Arozarena. Justin Turner he can carry a team. We've seen it before. Why not the Seattle Mariners offense? Why can't I get it going for 1 month? And then I looked at their OPS. It's my go-to stat, obviously.
It's bad. It's not good.
The number, it's not just not good, it's the significance of the number. 666.
Oh, no. I knew where you're going.
It's over.
It's over.
Seattle.
They're done.
I'm sorry. It's August 21st, and your playoff chances are gone. It's in the numbers. Oh, my gosh. 216 batting average, a 301 on base, 365 slug. Adds up to a 666 OPS. I'm sorry, Seattle. This isn't me declaring you dead. This is your OPS declaring you dead. Unbelievable.
No,
this is what happens when you go off and we do our own show, Katie. We find stuff like that.
Exactly. Rosie's going to listen and he's going to be like, what are they doing? Never again.
Unbelievable right there. Okay. That's enough for the serious stuff. A lot of death talk. Purgatory, heaven. We just got a little bit of hell right there. And Satan, what's going on here? As we always do at the end of the show, once again, thank you for coming on and filling in. You are everyone's favorite reliever in the Baseball Today world.
That's an honor. Thank you.
We're going to go a little bit. We always go fun with the 5th question. So, Dan, show the clip from the Yankees game last night. Very, very similar to a Derek Jeter. And I guess, I wonder, does that guy ever really act like he's Derek Jeter? He doesn't really specifically look like Derek, but I can see the resemblance. I know there was one guy I saw on social media, because this is what happens. He looked like Drake and was going around acting like he was Drake. I think he was even charging an appearance fee to act like Drake. I don't even know if acting like Drake is a thing you want to be doing right now, because we know there's a little rap beef going on. My question to you, Katie, and we'll end it with this, is do you have a doppelganger?
See, I don't know.
What people say. You don't have to give yourself one. Has anyone called you by a celebrity doppelganger?
Not off the top of my head. I will say, maybe 2 weeks ago, Wilson Contreras randomly met my parents on a road trip. And then the next day he was baffled at how much I look like my dad. So I hadn't gotten that one in a while. That was cool. He was in shock.
You look like your dad.
And I mean, I don't know if it's because my mom, my dad is Asian and my mom is white. So I don't know. But he was really taken aback at how much I look like my dad, to the point where he talked about it for an abnormally long time. So I don't know if that counts. I kind of want to ask if you have a doppelganger, let me know. But then I'm very terrified.
Yeah.
So actually, please.
That's actually a good.
What? What's one?
Dan wants to give one just called
I will be
Mariah Carey.
Day, Dan.
I can see that.
The power you just gave me.
Yes.
Unbelievable. You know what? Give Dan a raise.
I love that. Okay, I can see Mariah Carey. I love that you look like your dad, because my daughter looks just like me. My son looks like my wife. Daughter looks just like me. I got today on my social media feed, and I've heard this before. I don't really see it. I think it's just the beard and the haircut. People call me Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce light. But today someone called me Travis Kelce on Ozempic. So
ooh,
here I am.
Actually, in the most respectful way, I can see it. Travis Kelce, good looking guy though.
He's all right.
Who doesn't like Ozempic?
We look different, okay?
It's
I'll take it.
It's the beard and the hat and the.
It's the beard and the hat. Yeah, I think I'm just I dressed too cool for my age. All those things. Travis Kelce on Ozempic. I'm trying to get strong again, people. It's
Well,
hard
the
to work out
off-season
when you're 30
sport,
yet. Yeah,
off-season
okay.
gains. We're almost there.
All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you, Katie, again for filling in. We'll be back tomorrow. Chris Rose should be back. He's off, taking Brady to college. It's a sad thing for him. But his son Josh moved in. So he was going to be an empty nester. Now he's not an empty nester. So I'm happy for him. But he'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, Katie Woo. Thank you, Dan Rourke, for producing. I'm Trevor Plouffe. This has been a fun, awesome episode of Baseball Today. We will see you guys mañana.